Fam, you might be wondering what we're doing here in this town, Carigara and Haro, but mainly Carigara. Well, we're trying to look for this. This is called Binagol. Why it's called Binagol? Because right here you can see it. That's a coconut shell. But also at the same time, there's some delicious. This is a delicious delicacy here in Leyte, where it's hard for me to describe what it is. So I'll just open this up. All right, fam. We are now in Carigara, Leyte. So I have had a lot of good and bad memories of this town. If you've been watching my previous videos, I mentioned that. But you might also be wondering, why am I voicing over these videos? Well, simple answer to that is I actually had a mic on. However, it wasn't properly connected because I had a wireless microphone linked to my camera. It's a Bluetooth microphone. But turns out the connection wasn't properly established. Anyways, going back to this video, this is the Carigara town proper, or downtown area. Now, it's been a while since I was last here, so I don't know, maybe they have developed another downtown area, but at least when I was still here about more than 12 years ago, this was the town proper. This is the marketplace. Back then, there was not this covered area, but really, this is area where we have our ukay. Okay, so I will point that out to you later, but in the Philippines, we have what we call market day, right? So there's a day for different towns have their different market days. As I previously mentioned in the previous video, we also had a store over in Haro, Leyte. But anyways, we used to stay in this particular area to my left. You know where you see where that tent, you see the Ethan's Eatery. To the left of it, there's a tent. That is where our old ukay spot is, and we used to stay there for months and months and months, because it's a lot easier to have a permanent spot than move out and in every day at different locations. It's I would say ukay is not something I would recommend. It's a really physically demanding business venture. But life was hard in the Philippines and still is, and so you gotta do what you gotta do so you can provide. Gotta help my parents with that. But anyways, enough of that sad story of my life. It was, I tell you, and probably most of you guys who are watching this video can probably relate. Life is hard, I'll tell you. Anyways, walking down the memory lane kind of brought tears to my eyes. Not really that I was sobbing and crying, but made me tear up. So it's good to know that there's already undocs here in this place. Now, ukay are, you see this spot to the left, R&T ukay. At least now they have a permanent spot. I don't know if they were there last time. I think they were there when I was still here in this town. When we had our ukay. But long story short, what I'm trying to point out here is that RT ukay have their own spot, where it's stable. It's a stall. However, it was just a tent. It's just a makeshift store. So anyways, it's market day during this time of filming, and during market day you should go to these places, at least in this town, let's say Carigara, early in the morning, because that's when everything is fresh. Everything they still have a lot of everything. During this time it was already, I guess, 12 or 1 when we were there, so not a lot of action taking place anymore, but there still is. So when I was still back in Carigara about more than 12 years ago, this area to the right wasn't here yet. Okay, and there's a lot of changes that have taken place here. If you look up ahead on the left side of this video, there's a I guess I would call it a seawall that's being constructed. Now obviously it's not finished yet, But I don't know what their vision is for that one. I guess to protect people from flooding and the soil from getting eroded. But to the left, you will see the barracks here for our mighty construction workers who are putting in the effort and manpower to build that seawall right here. We were trying to get to the end of this pantalan or pier, but unfortunately, we couldn't go through because it was blocked. They say you cannot enter. Later, you will see us turn around here. But I've had a lot of good and bad, not really bad, but sad memories of this town. It's having an ukay or mobile ukay store. You just put up a tent so you can protect your merchandise, your clothing that you're selling from getting wet. This area is so windy. Later, I will show you a spot where we were literally the day prior to the typhoon Yolanda, and that's coming up. But anyways, long story short, this place is so windy because obviously it's just right next to the ocean, and so when it rains, usually it comes with a strong wind as well. So you can only imagine with our tent and the merchandise that we are selling, it's clothing, they get wet a lot. So I'm not sure about you, but when clothes get wet and if they're not properly dried up, they tend to smell nasty. So what we do is like, back in the day, washing machine is not really a pretty common in our households. So we'd have to wash it by hand. I mean, we have a washing machine, but it's that type of washing machine that only has a spinner at the very bottom. It doesn't really do its job. So we'd have to double it up with hand washing to remove the whatever stain the clothing got from the rain or the bad odor. So it was just, and it's so physically demanding job. 100 kilos of sako of bags filled up with ukay, and you have to move it from one place to another. Jeez, it's like it was rough. I would say it was rough. You do that on a daily basis because you're moving from one town to another, for their market day. But anyways, to the right of it, this is the view of this seawall, and they have. I forgot what you call that, but these are the molds for those spikes that they put right in front of the seawall. I'm assuming those are placed there to prevent stronger impact of water to the wall. Now you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not an engineer, nor am I a construction worker, so I know nothing about these things. But shout out to our mighty construction workers here. They're doing a great job. Look at the view. Like, I missed this view. I know there's a few YouTubers that have either lived here or have gone through here, just like me. I'm quite familiar with the town. As I've said, I spent a lot of time here in this town. I'm quite familiar with it. But we're not going through every corners, every street of this town, because if we were to do that, it will take a long time for us to finish. But we're going through and going down memory lane here. We're going through the streets and the corners where it means something to me, or if it means a lot to me. At night in this area, we call this the boulevard. In this area, there's a lot of barbecue or ihaw, and people have stalls here where they grill some meat, seafood, and you basically sit right here on this area on the boulevard where this barricade is. It's not really a barricade, but you know what I mean. This right side, this area where the concrete is. So the store owners or the stall owners who grill some ihaw ihaw for you. We'll put up a table and chairs so you can sit, enjoy your meal, enjoy the view, enjoy the cool breeze. So it's fun. Earlier, I mentioned that there's a spot here where we were literally the day before Typhoon Yolanda. So this is where our ukay ukay was. That plaza right in front of that stage, that right there, that area. It's funny because the day before Yolanda, it's as if nothing terrible would ever happen. It was bright, sunny day. The water was calm. The winds are not that strong. It was just really calm. So it was a perfect day. You would not ever think that there's gonna be a massive disaster that's gonna come. And perhaps that's also one of the reasons why most people were caught off guard, because Philippines, we're used to having a lot of storms in the Philippines, and it's almost like a way of life already over there. So anyways, long story short, the day before Yolanda, and this is a category 5 typhoon, internationally known as Typhoon Haiyan. But anyways, the day before Yolanda, it was a perfect day. Perfect. Everything you can ever imagine. However, in the morning of, I believe, 4 or 5 a.m., my goodness, the wind was so strong. We were not even at this particular location. I will show you my actual hometown, my home barangay. We were far more inland, and the wind was so strong, so powerful. It literally blew our roof off of the house, and traveled a few kilometers away. So it was that strong. That typhoon was so powerful. I don't know what happened exactly here, but you can only imagine they're literally right next to the ocean. Oh, in the previous video, I mentioned that private schools or private high schools are usually located next to a church. This church, to the right of it, there's a school. I'm not sure if you have noticed earlier, but the school was called Holy Cross of Carigara. They might have renamed it, or if I have butchered the name, please forgive me. You can always research this. Wow, this house is still standing. They've Turns out they have made this Carigara Municipal Library and Museum. Which is so fitting because this house is so old. I don't know. I'm sure it's older than me. All right, here's another street where to the right is actually a telco company. I'm not sure if it looks like they're still there, but the building looks abandoned already. There's a lot of new establishments here. Like this bake shop, it wasn't here before, but what do I expect? With time comes change, and change comes improvement. I've been seeing this a lot, the Crispy King. It looks like that is a chain of fried chicken. I've been seeing it a lot. I haven't tried it there. I wish I had, because you don't miss out on anything when you're traveling. At least that's the ideal situation. However, for lack of time, we skipped that. But this place right here is called Shopper's Budget Grocery. This is a grocery store, but this is actually a multi-store. Like there's a drug house, there's a pharmacy. Okay, pharmacy, not drugs, illicit drugs. Okay, pharmacy, hardware store, and obviously groceries. 7-Eleven is now everywhere in the Philippines, or at least in Leyte. But before I left, it wasn't there. Oh, this stall, Estong Manok and Liempo. That is the best liempo I've ever had. Best. And I'm glad to see that they are still there. So that simply means business is thriving, and their liempo is good. So this building to the right, where this land bank is, it has long been rumored that the second floor, if not the first floor, we're gonna be made a Jollibee. But that was a rumor. I don't know if there's some truth to it or not, but apparently it didn't work out. Perhaps Jollibee and the landlord did not, I guess, come to an agreement when it comes to, putting up a Jollibee there. But it's funny because this pure gold wasn't there before I left. There's a lot of new establishments that were built here, and it's fun to walk down memory lane and to see a lot of changes that have taken place. It's a lot of hardware stores here. This is what I'm talking about. This is another version of an ukay store right there. At least that is somewhat stable because it's permanent. It's built to stay there permanently, or at least semi-permanently. But ours was just a tent, for definitely designed for mobile ukay store. You know, if you turn right here, if I'm not mistaken, this area used to be the old LTO office. I don't know where they are right now. I couldn't see them. Maybe they have already moved. LTO simply means Land Transportation Office. I don't know what's the deal with the LTO here. At least when I remembered it, 12 years ago, or more than 12 years ago, they literally gave me a hard time getting a license. And when I got my license, I only had like code number 1, which is just basically a license for motorcycle. I'm like, what the heck? So anyways, when I finally got to Manila after Yolanda, I processed my license there, and I got 1, 2, 3. Simply means 1 is for motorcycle, 2 is for a 4-wheel drive, and 3 is for like bigger vehicles like a 6-wheel. And I don't know if they have changed that coding definition now, but at least back then that's how I understood it. And it was also professional driver license, so I could use it for commercial uses, because there's 2 types of licenses. One is non-professional, meaning just for your own private use, but if you're gonna drive a public transport vehicle, then you're gonna need a professional license. All right. So we're we're driving around this area. My camera is also pointed again to awkward angles, but really what I'm trying to show here is you see all those delicacies. Carigara, at least this particular strip, they've got a lot of delicacies for sale. So travelers like me and other travelers like me as well tend to stop here to buy some delicacies. And later you will see me stop and buy something from here. Literally one of the reasons why I decided to come back here to this particular part of the province of Leyte. Fam, you might be wondering what we're doing here in this town, Carigara and Haro, but mainly Carigara. Well, we're trying to look for this. This is called Binagol. Why it's called Binagol? Because right here you can see it. That's a coconut shell, but also at the same time there's some delicious. This is a delicious delicacy here in Leyte, where it's hard for me to describe what it is, so I'll just open this up. All right, there it is. That's the Binagol. As you can see, it's a little sticky. Actually, not a little sticky, it's sticky. Okay. That's just the outer layer. I believe this is made of cassava. So you grate the cassava, and then you later I will talk more about this as I dig in. So this top layer right here is a cassava. Here, hold it good. And then at the bottom, even this cassava portion right here is already delicious. There you go. Okay, it's a labor of love here. So that's how it looks like. Yeah. Let me flip the camera.
That's delicious. I haven't had this in like 10 years. Now, that's not the best part. The best part is the cream. Well, I call it cream, but it's not really cream. It's a concentrated syrup, almost like a syrup that they put here. It's not really a syrup. Here, I'm gonna ask my brother to help me dig through this thing. Yeah, yeah, there you go. There you go. That that liquidy one, kalama yata. That's how you call it. That's a big. Okay. Yeah. So that right there is the cream de la cream. That's the good part. Usually it sits at the bottom. Let me flip the camera and see how it goes. It's really good. If you ever find your way here to Leyte province in general, this is a unique, I guess I would call this provincial delicacy. It's always here in Leyte. Carigara is not the capital of Binagol. I believe it's in Dagami or some town over here in Leyte province. But regardless, it's still delicious. It tastes like how I remember it. And we even got ourselves some moron, but it's vacuum sealed, and I'll just take it to go. Here's how it looks like. There you go. That's how it looks like. They're tiny. Usually they're big, but it's business. Okay, 120 bucks. So that's like $2. That one is 60 pesos. So it's like a little over $1. So you see, that's the cream inside, right? So yeah, highly recommend. Alright fam, I don't know if you can see it, but I got myself a $1 haircut. I went to my home, but this is actually my real actual hometown, the barangay where I grew up in. And I have Kuya Paul here. He used to work in Dubai for a long time, cutting hair and at a salon over there. And then he came back a few years ago, just right before I left the Philippines, and put up a salon here, and he branched out elsewhere. But anyways, he charges 50 pesos, which at the current exchange rate is not even $1 yet. This haircut in the US, when all is said and done, taxes included, and the quote-unquote tip, maybe about 35, that which is like translated to the Philippine peso is like 1800 pesos with the current exchange rate. So yeah.
And lastly, I'm going to show you my actual barangay Hiag Samharo, Leyte. Yeah, so I used to walk around, run around, play around in this area. This is my old elementary school. Miss this place. They have since extended that to put up a high school there as well. This building right here is a high school. But when I was going to school here many years ago, that was just an elementary school. And I'll just show you just a little bit more before we end this video. We have our barangay hall here, and not a lot of things have changed here. That's the barangay hall, and this bridge right here was destroyed once upon a time, and then when they rebuilt it, they have widened it. So instead of building a 2-lane bridge, they have built a 4-lane bridge. What was I saying earlier? Anyways, I have forgotten already. Oh, I was gonna say I have never really stayed for more than an hour in this barangay when I visited, which is a shame. But that was because that's one downside of just going on vacation. You don't have a lot of time. So we were on a time crunch, so that's why I wasn't able to stay and mingle with my old friends there. But next time.